Did you know that the billion-dollar self-help industry is built not just on the promise of change, but on your dissatisfaction with yourself? Here's a mind-bending twist. Friedrich Nietzsche, the wild-haired philosopher everyone quotes but few really read, warned us of this trap over a century ago. His prophecy not only calls out the dark side of self-improvement, but asks, are you really growing, or are you silencing your true self for an endless chase you'll never win? He saw the shadow behind our hunger for progress. What if this race to fix ourselves is not just exhausting, but actually a new kind of prison? You've probably heard the slogans: be your best self, grind harder, wake up at 5 a.m., and take control. Social feeds overflow with these glowing stories of transformation and success. But behind that success, and underneath the glow of all those before and after stories, a strange anxiety gnaws quietly at you. No matter how much you do, it never feels like enough. Let's venture into the shadowy corners of self-improvement, guided by Nietzsche, to see what the gurus aren't telling you. On the surface, self-improvement seems obvious. Work on your flaws, build new habits, achieve more. But in reality, it's often a treadmill, not a staircase. Better is always ahead, but fulfillment never arrives. Here's why. Self-improvement, in its popular form, is rooted in the feeling that you're not good enough right now. Each step of self-improvement often relies on one thing: a deep dissatisfaction with who you are right now. That's precisely the endless hunger that keeps the self-help industry booming and you consuming. What started as growth can turn toxic, turning into perfectionism, comparison, and disappointment. The message? To become somebody, you must first declare war on your nobody self. Nietzsche warns us about the tyranny of becoming. More than a century ago, Nietzsche wrote about something he called the ascetic ideal. The belief that to be human is to endlessly strive, sacrifice, and punish ourselves in pursuit of some future perfection. To him, this was more curse than blessing. He believed this obsessive becoming was a kind of spiritual trap. Instead of freeing us, it created new chains. When all of our life is about improvement, every flaw is a failure. We become anxious, dependent on progress, never able to rest, never arriving. The more you try to fix yourself, the more parts you find broken. The dark side of self-help isn't just philosophical. Clinical psychologists note rising perfectionism and hyper-individualism. The self-improvement culture tells you, if things don't work out, you alone are to blame, instead of acknowledging systemic barriers or plain luck. The endless improvement mantra shifts all blame onto the individual, ignoring privilege, luck, random setbacks. It says, if life isn't perfect, it's on you. That's both unfair and lonely. It leaves people isolated, thinking they're the only ones struggling. It's not just Nietzsche. Blogs and real stories tell how the culture of life hacks and relentless achievement leaves people spinning their wheels. One writer describes her break from self-help books as being set free. She saw her shelves lined with unread promises, each whispering that she was always not quite there. Another person described feeling mentally drained from constantly tracking and optimizing every hour of their day, until all the joy disappeared under the pressure to constantly improve themselves. Consuming too much self-help can give the illusion that the perfect life is just one more book or course away. In reality, it distorts what is possible and leaves you unhappy with real, messy progress. So, is all self-improvement a trap? Not quite. Nietzsche didn't end his philosophy in despair. He laid out a radical alternative, his 3 metamorphoses of the spirit. First, the camel, carrying the weight of other people's expectations. The lion, breaking free and finding your own path. And finally, if we're brave, the child, creating freely and loving life without judgment. We create our own meaning like playful children. That's the real level up. When you stop chasing someone else's finish line and start inventing values that feel true to you. Most people, Nietzsche observed, never move past camel. They're always carrying someone else's baggage. True growth, he thought, comes only after we become lion, then child. Not because we hate who we are, but because we dare to reinvent ourselves on our own terms. Do you know what the self-help industry's loop is? It's when growth means never being satisfied. It's no accident that self-help books and videos rarely leave you finished. The industry needs you to stay hungry. Every achievement reveals a new flaw to fix. It can feel like Icarus, rising high, then crashing once reality exposes the limits of your control. There are some warning signs when self-improvement becomes a poison. 1. When you feel burnout and anxiety from chasing constant goals. 2. When you lose your relationships and your self-worth becomes your only measure. 3. Comparing yourself for likes and views, mistaking validation for real growth. In practice, Nietzsche's radical cure is a more fatty, loving your fate, seeing every zigzag, flaw, and failure is vital. The lesson isn't to ditch growth altogether, but to grow out of creativity, curiosity, and love for the mess of life, not out of shame or fear. Modern therapists agree. The healthiest changes don't come from self-loathing or envy, but from daring to be kinder to yourself. Psychology and philosophy offer profound guidance for navigating life's complexities. We must first accept that progress rarely follows a straight line. Growth inevitably comes with setbacks, and sometimes our most wasted moments become our greatest teachers. True improvement emerges from intrinsic motivation, drawing from our natural joy, creativity, and curiosity rather than being driven by fear or shame. Life exists in constant flux, and as Nietzsche understood through his concept of will to power, our drive for mastery should begin with self-mastery rather than seeking dominance over others or falling into toxic comparisons. The wisest approach is to redefine success entirely, finding deep meaning in the process itself, in the small daily habits and consistent efforts we make, rather than fixating solely on final outcomes. The challenge is, can you embrace every aspect of your life, the triumphs and failures, joy and pain, success and imperfection, as vital parts of your story? Picture stripping away the constant noise, reducing the endless stream of hustle content, and abandoning the tyranny of checklists. Instead, create space for deeper connections with friends, embrace the power of silence, and learn to accept those so-called wasted moments that only appear wasteful when measured against someone else's impossible standards. So ask yourself, are you actually growing, or just performing growth for social media? When self-help content dominates your feed, question whether you're improving for yourself or for likes and validation. Consider how the pressure to stay positive might be silencing the real emotions and struggles that lead to genuine growth. The endless hustle culture often ignores luck, privilege, and circumstances beyond your control, unfairly blaming you for everything. Here are some practical steps so you can break free from this cycle. 1. Limit self-help content consumption. Don't turn learning into procrastination. 2. Practice gratitude for the present, not just anticipation for the future. 3. Prioritize mental health. Rest, therapy, hobbies, and relationships matter more than optimizing every segment of your day. So, was Nietzsche right? Are we trapped by self-improvement? The answer is the dark side of self-improvement is real when it makes you hate who you are. The light breaks through when you learn to embrace what's always been right about you, flaws and all. The next time you hear, "You can be better," maybe ask, who says I'm not already enough? Improve not because you hate who you are, but because you love what you can become. If this journey challenged your view on self-improvement, drop your thoughts below. Have you felt the dark side of personal growth? What does a more fatty mean to you? Like, subscribe, and question everything, especially the endless urge to become better. Until next time, embrace your shadow. Embrace